For my brief, I was asked to create a magazine, front cover, contents page and double page spread. My magazine is inspired by an issue of Vibe magazine. For my main magazine, I have used low-key lighting, which is also used by Vibe, to make the subject look more fearless to the reader. However, I have used a medium close-up rather than a close-up so the reader can see the pose of the subject. For my headline, I have used a quote that is said by the subject, which Vibe magazine have also done. My content page are inspired by the contents page of XXL magazine. The body text I've used is similar to the one used by XXL magazine because I've placed my images and text in the same way XXL have. I have kept a consistent house style of red, black and white colours, which is conventional to rap magazines. My subheadings are placed around the main headline in small font so I can fit a lot of subheadings. This is conventional because the use of subheadings are there to make the audience want to read on. My double page spread is inspired by the Source magazine. I like the reflection of the headline, so I used it on my double page spread to make it look unique and different. The Source has used a long shot, and as I am trying to make my magazine look alike of the Source magazine, I've used a long shot too. The long shot shows how stylistic the subject on the main image is because it shows the mise-en-scène and everything he is wearing. My body text is also similar to the Source double page spread, but because I am doing an interview, I had to line my interview in 4 columns of body text. By using an Asian person on my front cover, I have challenged the convention because on music magazines there are usually white or Afro-Caribbean people. I have also used pictures of people of different genders and young teenagers on my magazine, target my audience and give my magazine a unique and exclusive look, and it represents the upcoming generation. This could motivate my target audience. The mise-en-scène of my images represents the genre of hip-hop and rap, as the main subject of my magazine is wearing clothes that would be worn by people that rap and make hip-hop music. Intermedia Partners Products would be the media institution that would distribute my media product. This institution would be a good institution to help promote my magazine, so it would attract a specific target audience but around the world. Intermedia Partners are well-known distributors as they have helped to distribute Vibe magazine. Intermedia also produce well-known products such as Universal Sports and WAPA TV. If my magazine can have those types of products in my magazine, it would be a good use of synergy, and this would help increase the reputation of my magazine. Intermedia also help Vibe magazine distribute through the internet, so Vibe magazine is available for audiences online. The use of technology is a good tool of convergence. If my magazine used the internet to distribute, it would be a good use of convergence and it would target a global audience as everyone in the world could view my magazine. Language in my magazine. This would attract my target audience. In my mise-en-scène, the subject is wearing hats, jackets, jeans and trainers. This would also attract the target audience because it is something an audience that listens to rap and hip-hop would like to wear. In addition, the bright colours of my mise-en-scène is eye-catching to the audience. Having names of famous artists would also attract my audience, as it would mean my magazine is well established. My magazine is targeted at working class people, as the price tag of my magazine is $3.99. This price is not too expensive, so it is affordable by the target audience. My audience is the mainstream audience, from the age range of 16 to 24-year-olds. My product applies to both genders who are interested in rap and hip-hop music. My mise-en-scène played a big part in attracting and addressing my audience. The clothes the main subjects wear in the images has a huge effect. On my content, I have used different genders and aged people to attract my varied audience. My male part of my audience may aspire to be like the subject of the main image, because the person in the main image has fame, wealth and success. Furthermore, on my double page spread, I have used a long shot to show the class of the subject on the double page spread by letting the audience see exactly everything the subject is wearing. On my contents page, the use of the artist names would attract the audience to read on, and this could also be used as a social tool, as they could talk about my stories with their friends and socially interact. Social interaction would be a positive for my magazine because it would keep people talking about the stories on my magazine. More people would know about my magazine, and this could even get me a wider audience. My selling line, voted the best magazine for 10 years, would also attract the target audience to read on. I have learnt how to use and about technologies from the process of constructing this product. Firstly, I have learnt to install fonts from DaFont into Photoshop so I can use unique fonts on my product, and it gives me a variety of fonts to use. I have also learnt to use the levels tools on Photoshop. The levels tools helps me to balance out the brightness on the image. To make my magazine look neat, I use the rulers so all the paragraphs are lined up and are in order. On Photoshop, the Quick Selection tool was a tool I used a lot because the Quick Selection tool helped me to cut out the main subject from the background so that I can put it on a black coloured background. Also, I have learnt to use hyphenation, so all my words in a sentence are spread out. I used a camera with lighting and flash to capture good quality professional images. Using lighting and flash is something new I have learnt. I have learnt how to use WordPress to post my work onto the blog. I have made progress on my magazine if it is compared to my preliminary task. On the front cover of my preliminary, the main image wasn't cut out properly and you could see the rough edges where the image was cut out. On my final project, the images are cut out well. Also, on my preliminary task, I didn't know how to use Photoshop, but, however, on my final project I have used several of Photoshop tools such as the Levels tool to make certain parts of the image stand out. The Photoshop tools help me to edit my images and make them look more professional. Since my preliminary task I have learned that magazines need a body text. On my preliminary tasks I never used a body text, I just put my text in random spaces to fill the spaces on the page. On the other hand, on my final project I got some inspiration from XXL magazine and Vibe magazine, and I used the way where body text was placed, and I placed my text places that make my magazine more conventional. On the front cover of my preliminary task, I only used one font. This is a disadvantage because using one font would make my magazine tedious and boring. Knowing that my magazine would be boring if I used a few fonts on it, on my final project I used several fonts to make my magazine look more professional.